I want to welcome you to the Ask Jeff YouTube channel. Here's today's question. Okay, I've been trying to figure out who can be saved, myself included. Ephesians chapter 2, verse 8 and 9, for by grace you've been saved through faith, and this is not of your own doing, it is the gift of God, lest any man should boast. But James said that faith without works is dead. Well, that's the end of the question, and you're absolutely right. There is a holy tension here. In fact, whom we know as Martin Luther, the great reformer, made the observation that whom we know as the Apostle Paul, i.e. Ephesians, and James, which he called an epistle of straw, were always in conflict with each other. So that being said, let's kind of work out this balance. Ephesians 2, 8, 9, absolutely, you are correct. For by grace we're saved, not of our works. You go into the book of James, and it says that faith without works is, quote, dead. Now, let me address this from two perspectives. Number one, you have to look at who the recipients of the respective material is. In the Ephesians letter, it is the church, the believers in Jesus Christ at Ephesus. Same with Colossae, Philippi, Thessalonica, etc. If you look at the book of James, it's interesting. It's not written to believers. It says to the 12 tribes that are scattered. Now, the reason that's important is the Jewish people, not only of biblical days, but of today, have a completely different perspective when it comes to salvation than most of us pig-eating Gentiles. For example, and I'll just use myself. Over 4 decades ago, when I got saved, I did not have to leave a system of belief that I thought was bringing me salvation and a right relationship with God. I just was in rebellion against God. However, people from a Jewish background are going to feasts and festivals, offerings and such, thinking that, quote, makes them right with God. When you abandon or leave that and you go to, quote, biblical Christianity, obviously there has to be some kind of distinction. There has to be a difference there. Faith without works is dead. Now, let me give you a current example that we deal with every day in the world of missiology. As we take the gospel to the Islamic people, primarily the Middle East and to the Eastern world, one of the big struggles is, okay, if someone in that culture comes to know Jesus Christ as their personal Savior, at what level do they interact with the Muslim mosque, which in some cases are more cultural centers than they are just religious centers? Do they offer prayers that are to Jesus instead of Allah? There's all kinds of struggle there. At the end of the day, I think what the book of James helps us understand is this. If we're leaving a system such as Islam, Judaism, I got one, Hinduism. I was in the Southeast Asian world several years ago, and we led people to Jesus. We asked them, are you renouncing all other Hindu gods to believe in Jesus? Because in Hinduism, you'll just throw Jesus on the pile. And so I think in the book of James, because it's written to the 12 tribes, it's written to Jewish people, not believers who are trying to make a right relationship with God with their works. It's saying you will know you have converted. You will know that you're a believer in Jesus when your actions reflect what Jesus said and not what you were doing per the Old Testament covenant. Hopefully that brings some clarity to at times a very confusing situation, but I'm presuming for whomever submitted, as well as myself, and probably the majority of the folks that are watching this YouTube channel, we're a bunch of old pig-eating nasty Gentiles who didn't have to leave a system of religion. We just had to come to a realization that we are sinful creatures in need of a Savior, and His name is Jesus Christ. And we read over and over and over again that once that relationship is established, that fruit will be born. Great question. If you have one, send to AskJeff.net. Maybe your question will be tomorrow's. Thanks for being a part of today's daily question. Now, we answer a question each and every day. Please feel free to submit a new question at AskJeff.net. We may not have gotten to yours today, but we eventually will continue to be a part of this. Subscribe so you don't miss out on a question every day.